What makes a hero? The uniform, the spotlight, or something deeper, something most never see? Elliot Warner moves through the university hallways like a ghost, mop in hand, head down, invisible to most. The janitor everyone passes but no one sees. Morning sunlight filters through tall windows at Westridge University. Polished marble floors gleam under Elliot's careful attention. He's 63, silver hair cropped military short. Weathered hands grip the mop with practiced precision. Students rush past. Professors nod absently. No one stops. No one notices the slight limp, the burn scars peeking from his sleeve, the eyes that have seen too much in the administration building. That's where it happens, where worlds collide. Marcus Reed stands at the security desk. New uniform crisp, badge polished to a shine, 27 years old and something to prove, former college linebacker, now head of campus security. He scans IDs with military efficiency, barks orders at student workers, demands respect, commands attention. The opposite of Elliot in every way. Professor Sandra Chen watches from her office doorway, history department chair, specialists in military history. She sees what others miss. The way Elliot's eyes scan every room, how he positions himself near exits, the vigilance that never sleeps. Students stream through metal detectors. A busy Tuesday morning, backpacks, coffee cups, hurried conversations. Elliot pushes his bucket past the security station. Same as every day for 5 years. Marcus holds up a hand. Wait, ID now? Elliot reaches slowly for the lanyard. His movements deliberate, unhurried. Too slow. Marcus steps forward, voice rising, impatient. This is a secure area. ID or leave. Now Elliot's voice barely audible. I work here. Just doing my job. Not good enough. Marcus puffs his chest. Students stop to watch. Phones appear. Recording. Professor Chen steps closer. Something in her posture changes. Alert. Concerned. Marcus grabs Elliot's arm. The janitor flinches, almost imperceptibly. A reaction born of old trauma. Maintenance staff don't have clearance today. Special event. Chancellor's visit. Security protocol. Elliot stands perfectly still, not arguing, not resisting, simply existing in the storm of another man's making. Marcus shoves him, not hard, just enough to assert dominance, to show who's in charge. Elliot stumbles backward, his mop clatters to the floor, and something else, something small, something metal. It spins across the polished marble, catching light, drawing eyes, a medallion on a blue ribbon, 5-pointed star hanging from an eagle and anchor, the Medal of Honor. Professor Chen freezes. Her breath catches. She knows exactly what it is, what it means. Marcus doesn't. Not yet. The medal comes to rest at Chen's feet. Silence spreads through the lobby, one by one. Phones lower, conversations stop. Elliot doesn't reach for it, doesn't explain, just stands there, eyes forward, back straight. The posture of a man who stood at attention before, many times. Chen kneels, picks up the medal with reverence, holds it like it might shatter, looks at Elliot with new eyes. The moment hangs between them. A question unasked, a story untold. Who is this man? This invisible man who mops their floors? This silent guardian they've all ignored? And what price has he already paid for the right to walk among them? Before we continue, comment where you're watching from. The medal rests in Professor Chen's palm, heavy with history, with sacrifice. She knows what it is, Congress's highest honor, given for valor, for courage beyond measure, for actions most couldn't imagine, let alone perform. Marcus steps forward, confusion crossing his face, then dawning recognition, his security training kicking in. That's a Medal of Honor. His voice holds disbelief, as if such a thing couldn't possibly belong to the man standing before him. The janitor with the mop and bucket. Elliot says nothing, reaches out one weathered hand, palm up, waiting. Chen hesitates, questions burning behind her eyes. She places the medal in his hand. Their fingers brush. A moment of connection. Students whisper, Phones record again. A ripple of awareness spreads. Elliot tucks the medal into his pocket, bends to retrieve his mop. Face unreadable, eyes distant. Marcus blocks his path. "Sir," the word feels foreign on his tongue. "I didn't realize I need to finish the floors." Elliot's voice is quiet, matter of fact. No anger, no accusation. He tries to step around Marcus. The security guard persists. "We should talk about this. I didn't know you were just a janitor." Elliot finishes the sentence. "That's all I am here. Just a janitor." Chen watches, her historian's mind racing, cataloguing details, the scars on his hands, the precise way he stands, the haunted look she's seen before, in old photographs, in veterans' eyes. Marcus shifts uncomfortably, red-faced, stammering. "I'm sorry, sir, I didn't mean to." Elliot cuts him off with a gentle shake of his head. "No harm done, just doing your job, same as me." The grace in his words makes the moment more powerful, more devastating. A student steps forward, phone still recording, voice eager. "How did you get that medal? What did you do?" Elliot's eyes cloud over. Nothing worth talking about, nothing worth remembering. He pushes his bucket forward, continues his work, as if nothing happened. As if his life hadn't just been exposed, but everything has changed. The video is already spreading, screens lighting up across campus. The security guard, the janitor, the medal. By afternoon, whispers follow Elliot through the halls. Sideways glances. Sudden respect where there was only indifference before. In the faculty lounge, Professor Chen searches online, fingers flying across keys. Military records, news archives, looking for answers. She finds a photograph, 30 years old, a younger Elliot, dress uniform, standing at attention. The president placing the medal around his neck. The article headline, "Marine Saves 12 in." Embassy siege awarded nation's highest honor. Her breath catches. The story unfolds before her. Brutal, harrowing, heroic beyond measure. Down the hall, Marcus sits at his desk, face in his hands, shame burning through him. He's pulled up the same article, the same photograph. How do you apologize for shoving? A man who survived what this man survived, who did what this man did. In the West Building, Elliot mops alone, the medal back in its place, hidden away, where he keeps his memories, his nightmares, his past. Not all heroes wear uniforms. Some wear coveralls, push mops, clean toilets, fade into backgrounds. The medal weighs heavy in his pocket, a burden he's carried for decades, a reminder of the worst day of his life and his finest hour. He never wanted it, never displays it, only carries it to remember the ones who didn't come home, the ones who didn't get medals, the ones he couldn't save. What price does heroism exact? And why do we only see it when it's wrapped in glory, when it wears the right uniform, when it fits our expectations? The questions hang in the air, unanswered, as Elliot continues his work, invisible once more. Except now, everyone is watching. By morning, the video has gone viral. 2 million views, shared across platforms. The janitor hero, trending nationwide. Security. Guard shoves Medal of Honor recipient. The headlines scream across screens. Commentary flows. Outrage builds. But Elliot just wants to work, to disappear into routine, into the comfort of anonymity. He arrives early, 5 a.m. Campus quiet. The way he likes it. Chancellor Reynolds waits at the maintenance office, suit-pressed, smile practiced. PR team hovering nearby. "Mr. Warner, a pleasure to finally meet you properly. We had no idea we had someone of your distinction on staff." Elliot nods. Doesn't correct him. Doesn't mention they've met 17 times before. At events where Elliot was invisible, part of the background, just the man who cleaned up afterward. The Chancellor continues. "We're planning a small ceremony. Recognition of your service, your sacrifice. Would Friday work?" Elliot's expression doesn't change. I appreciate the thought. But that won't be necessary. I'm just here to do my job. The Chancellor's smile falters. Public relations nightmare unfolds in his eyes. Hero Janitor rejects university honor. Another viral moment brewing. Marcus arrives for his shift, sees the cluster of administrators, tries to blend into the background. A role reversal not lost on Elliot. Professor Chen watches from across the quad, observing the dynamics, the power shifts, the sudden attention on a man who's spent years avoiding it. Throughout the day, students approach Elliot. Selfie requests, autographs, questions about his service, his medal, his scars. He deflects politely, keeps moving, head down, focused on his work. In the cafeteria, lunch hour, Elliot sits alone. Same corner table, same brown paper bag, same routine for 5 years. 3. Young men approach, athletic builds, swagger in their steps. Friends of Marcus from the gym. Mind if we join you? The tallest one asks, the hero janitor himself. Elliot gestures to the empty chairs. Free country. They sit, exchange glances, snicker. So what's the deal? You really earned that medal? Or is this some stolen valor bullshit? Elliot takes another bite of his sandwich, chews slowly, swallows, says nothing. The second student leans forward. Because Marcus says he looked you up, says your name's not in any database he could find. Elliot meets his gaze. Some records are classified. Some operations never happened, at least officially. The third student laughs. Right. Secret squirrel stuff. Like in the movies. They don't believe him, don't want to believe him. It's easier to tear down than to accept that heroism can wear a janitor's uniform from 3 tables over. Professor Chen watches, anger building. She stands, starts to approach. Our taunting continues. If you're such a badass, why are you pushing a mop? Why not security? Like a real man. Elliot carefully rewraps his half-eaten sandwich, places it in his bag. Some jobs need doing. Someone needs to do them. That's all there is to it. He stands to leave. The tallest student knocks Elliot's tray. Deliberate. Coffee spills across the table, drips onto Elliot's uniform. Oops, my bad. Guess you'll have to clean that up. It's what you do best, right? Laughter erupts from their table. Eyes turn to watch. Phones record again. Elliot doesn't react, doesn't flinch. Decades of discipline holding him steady. He takes napkins from a dispenser, wipes the spill methodically, efficiently, as if it's just another task. Another mess to clean from across the room. Marcus watches, shame and complicity warring on his face. These are his friends, his workout partners, and he knows he started this. Chen finally reaches the table. Gentlemen, her voice cuts through. The cafeteria noise. I believe you're needed elsewhere, perhaps in my office, to discuss academic integrity and basic human decency. The students' smiles fade. They know Professor Chen, know her reputation, know she can make their lives difficult. They retreat, muttering, shooting glares at Elliot, at Chen. Thank you, but I don't need protection. Elliot's voice is calm, measured. Chen studies him. I know, but sometimes even heroes shouldn't have to. Stand alone, across campus. The whispers continue, the video spreads, opinions form, sides taken, and in the administrative building. A young custodial worker watches, 19 years old, new to the job, Maria Diaz, taking notes, learning from Elliot's methods, and his dignity. She sees what others miss. The precision in his movements, the thoroughness of his work, the pride. He takes in tasks others consider beneath them. She sees the man, not just the medal, not just the viral moment, but the daily courage of showing up, of doing good work, of carrying on. In her eyes, respect grows, not for the hero, but for the janitor, for both. For the same man. Night falls across campus. Most have gone home. Not Elliot. He works the evening shift, prefers the quiet hours, when the hall's empty, when memories can surface without an audience. The administration building, 3rd floor. The same spot where the medal fell. He lingers, mop moving in slow, deliberate strokes. Professor Chen finds him there. Not by accident. She's been looking. Research folder tucked under her arm. Questions burning behind her eyes. Elliot. May I speak with you? He continues mopping. Rhythm unbroken. Free country. She steps closer. I read about what happened. In Sana'a, the embassy. What you did. His hands tighten on the mop handle, white-knuckled, a small tell. The only indication her words have landed. 22 hostages. 12 you saved. Against impossible odds. Elliot stops, looks up. His eyes no longer the mild janitor's. Something harder, colder, more distant. 10 I didn't. The words hang between them, heavy with unspoken grief, with survivor's guilt. With the weight of decisions no one should have to make. Chen nods, understanding. You were a Marine Force recon, special operations, before the embassy. He sighs, places the mop against the wall. What do you want, Professor? The truth. Why here? Why this job? Why hide who you are? A bitter smile crosses his face. I'm not hiding, I'm just living. There's a difference. He gestures around the empty hallway. This work has purpose. It's honest, necessary. No one dies if I make a mistake. Chen studies him. The military posture, the vigilant eyes, the hands that have seen violence now dedicated to creation, to maintaining order, to cleaning away chaos. After what I saw, what I did, there's peace in simple work, in making things clean again. His voice drops. Almost a whisper. Some stains never come out, no matter how hard you scrub, down the hall. Doctor opens. Marcus emerges from the security office, stops when he sees them, uncertainty in his stance. Elliot nods to him, a professional courtesy, nothing more. Marcus approaches, cautious, carrying something. A framed newspaper article, Mr. Warner. I wanted to apologize properly, for yesterday, for everything. He holds out the frame. I found this, had it printed, thought it might belong somewhere. The article, the White House ceremony, the medal presentation, Marine Staff Sergeant Elliot Warner, standing tall, young, unbroken. Elliot doesn't take it. That man doesn't exist anymore. Chen watches the exchange, sees the ghosts between them, the guilt, the regret, the unbridgeable gap of experience. Marcus persists. The guys in the cafeteria. Today, they're not my friends anymore. What they did was wrong. Elliot shrugs. People believe what they want to believe, see what they want to see. Nothing changes that. He returns to his mop, his bucket, his routine, but Chen won't let go. You're wrong. Things can change. People can change, if they see the truth. Elliot's laugh holds no humor. Truth is the first casualty. Always has been. He wheels his bucket toward the stairwell, preparing to leave, to escape the conversation, the memories it stirs. Professor Chen calls after him. The university's Veterans Day ceremony, next week. Would you consider speaking? Sharing. Your story, he pauses, back still turned. Those aren't my stories to tell. They belong to the ones who didn't come back. With that, he's gone. The sound of the bucket wheels fading down the corridor. Marcus looks at Chen, the frame still in his hands. What do we do now? Chen takes the frame, studies the younger Elliot, the determination in his eyes, the future still ahead of him. We honor him, not the way we want to, the way he deserves, by seeing him, all of him, not just the medal in the parking lot. Elliot sits in his truck, engine off, hands trembling slightly. The conversation has unleashed the past. Memories surround him, like ghosts. Gunfire, screams, blood on marble floors. Decisions made in split seconds. Lives weighed, lost, saved. He reaches into his pocket, touches the medal, his talisman, his burden. his reminder of the 10 he couldn't save. Their faces visit him nightly. In dreams that aren't dreams, in memories that never fade, he starts the engine, drives away from campus toward a small apartment, sparsely furnished, military neat, where he lives alone with his ghosts, with his honor and his guilt, two sides of the same coin, the medal's true weight. Maria Diaz watches his truck leave, from the shadows of the maintenance shed, learning, observing, understanding more than she reveals. Morning brings rain, heavy drops against windows, the kind of weather that keeps students indoors, that makes mud tracks on clean floors, that creates more work for the invisible ones. Elliot arrives early as always, soaked from the parking lot to the maintenance entrance. No complaints, just another day. Maria is already there, setting up her cart, checking supplies, learning the systems, the routines, the proper way. "Good morning, Mr. Warner." Her voice respectful, not awed, not curious, just acknowledging his presence, his humanity. Elliot nods, looks at her cart. "You're low on disinfectant. Check supply closet B, second shelf." Not a reprimand, a teaching moment, a passing of knowledge. Maria thanks him. Doesn't mention the medal, the video, the whispers, just talks about the work, the weather, the day ahead. It's the most normal conversation Elliot has had in days. He appreciates it more than she knows. They part ways, different buildings, different responsibilities, same purpose. In her office, Professor Chen works, not on lectures, not on research, but on Elliot's story. Her desk covered with printouts, military records, news articles, scholarly papers on the Sana'a embassy siege, on post-traumatic stress, on the weight of heroism. A knock at her door. Chancellor Reynolds enters. All business, all damage control. Have you spoken with him? Will he participate in the ceremony? The media attention could be excellent for the university. Chen looks up, doesn't hide her disgust. Is that all you see? A public relations opportunity? The Chancellor stiffens. I see a chance to honor a hero, to show our respect, to demonstrate our values. Chen gestures to her research. Do you know what he did? What it cost him? The lives he saved? The ones he lost? Reynolds glances at the papers, impatient. The Medal of Honor speaks for itself. The ceremony is scheduled for next Friday. The local news will cover it. Several alumni have expressed interest in attending. Chen stands. Protective, fierce. He doesn't want this. He's made that clear. The Chancellor waves dismissively. Everyone says that at first. Modesty, it's expected. But deep down, they all want recognition. Wrong. This one doesn't. She steps closer, challenging. If you force this on him, make a spectacle of his trauma, you'll regret it. Reynolds laughs. Is that a threat, Professor? Not a threat. A prediction. Some wounds shouldn't be reopened for public consumption. The Chancellor leaves, unmoved, unconvinced. Plans proceeding. Across campus, Marcus works security. Different now. Watching, noticing the invisible ones, the custodial staff, the groundskeepers, the food service workers. He sees Elliot through a window, mopping the science building lobby. Efficient, thorough, professional. On impulse, he enters. Approaches cautiously. Mr. Warner, Elliot continues working, acknowledges him with a slight nod. I wanted to ask you something. About the Marines. About service. Elliot stops, studies the younger man. Why? Marcus hesitates. I enlisted once. Made it through 2 weeks of basic. Washed out. Medical discharge. Flat feet. He laughs without humor. Stupid reason. But it crushed me, everything I wanted to be. Gone. Understanding crosses Elliot's weathered face. So you became security instead. Found another uniform, another way to serve. Marcus nods. But it's not the same. Not what I imagined. Not enough. Elliot leans on his mop. Service is service. The uniform doesn't matter. The job doesn't matter. What matters is how you do it. why you do it. The wisdom lands, simple, profound, a perspective Marcus hadn't considered. They talk, man to man, veteran to almost veteran, about purpose, about pride in work, about finding meaning in unexpected places. In the library archives, Professor Chen makes a discovery, a dissertation from 15 years ago. Embassy sieges of the 1990s, diplomatic consequences and security reforms. A footnote on page 247. An interview, Staff Sergeant Elliot Warner, conducted at Walter Reed Medical Center 6 months after Sana'a. She reads his words, raw, unfiltered, the cost of heroism laid bare. I hear them at night, the ones I left behind. They ask, why them and not me? I have no answer. The medal is a joke. They give it to you for the worst day of your life, for failure dressed up as success, for surviving when others didn't. Chen closes the document, sits, back eyes damp, understanding dawning. This is why he mops floors, why he seeks invisibility, why he shuns recognition. The medal isn't a badge of honor to him. It's a mark of survivor's guilt, of promises unkept, of brothers and sisters lost. She gathers her research, makes a decision, not to expose, but to protect. In the maintenance office, Maria opens a supply cabinet, finds something unexpected. A small wooden box, hand-carved, pushed to the back, behind cleaning supplies. She shouldn't look, knows this, but curiosity wins. Inside, not the medal, but photographs, 12 of them. Young faces, smiling, embassy staff. The ones he saved, and, with them, 10 more photos, each with a black ribbon, each with dates, names, the ones he couldn't reach in time. Maria closes the box quickly, returns it exactly as found. Leaves the closet, shaken, understanding more now about the quiet man who teaches her to clean, who carries more than mops and buckets, who bears the weight of 22 souls. Every day, in his office, the Chancellor makes calls, plans the ceremony, invites media, prepares to capitalize on a hero they never saw until his medal hit the floor, none of them understanding the true cost of recognition, the price of reopening wounds that never fully healed. The stage is being set for honor, for exploitation, for revelation, for reckoning, all converging on a man who only wants to be left alone, to do his job, to atone in his own way, for surviving when others did not. Friday arrives, clear skies, crisp autumn air, perfect weather for an outdoor ceremony. Elliot knows nothing of the plans, arrives for his shift, normal time, normal routine. But the campus is different today. News vans in the parking lot, camera crews setting up in the quad, a podium on a small stage, chairs arranged in neat rows, red, white and blue bunting, a large banner, honoring our heroes. His stomach tightens, jaw clenches. He parks in his usual spot, considers driving away, decides against it. Work is work. He has floors to clean, responsibilities to fulfill. In the maintenance office, his supervisor waits, uncomfortable, shifting from foot to foot. Warner, the Chancellor wants you at the ceremony. 10 a.m., main quad, wear your best uniform. Elliot's face reveals nothing. I have work to do. The supervisor swallows hard. This comes from the top. Paid time, full day, just show up. Say thank you, accept the plaque. Elliot turns away, begins preparing. His cart. I didn't ask for this, I know, but it's happening anyway. Sometimes you just gotta play along. Maria watches from the doorway, concern in her eyes. She knows, they all know, the ceremony isn't for Elliot. It's for them, for appearances, for cameras, for reputation. Elliot wheels his cart out, passes Maria. Their eyes meet briefly. Understanding passes between them. He heads to the English building, farthest from the quad, from the ceremony, from the unwanted attention. Professor Chen intercepts him, breathless, worried. Elliot, I tried to stop it. The Chancellor wouldn't listen. He continues working. Not your fault, not your problem. She falls in step beside him. You don't have to go. I can help you. Create a diversion. Call in a fake emergency. A rare smile crosses his face. Appreciate the thought. But I don't run. Never have. Chen hesitates. Then you'll attend? Elliot shrugs. I'll do what I've always done. My job, 9:30. The quad fills with people, students, faculty, staff, local veterans groups, media, all gathered to honor a man who wants no part of their ceremony. The Chancellor paces backstage. Where is he? Someone find Warner. We go live in 20 minutes. Marcus, in his security uniform, tasked with finding Elliot, searching buildings, following the maintenance schedule, knowing better than to rush this man. This mission, he finds him. In a third-floor bathroom, cleaning a toilet, methodical, focused, as if it's the most important task in the world. Sir, they're waiting for you. Elliot doesn't look up. Still working, still cleaning. I know, Marcus waits, respectful of the process, of the man's dignity, of his choice, when the toilet gleams, when the task is complete. Only then does Elliot stand. Rinse his gloves, face Marcus, tell them I'll be there when I'm ready, not before. 10 a.m. The ceremony begins, without its guest of honor, the Chancellor. At the podium, sweating slightly, smiling tensely, cameras rolling, no Elliot in sight. Ladies and gentlemen, we gather today to honor an extraordinary individual. A hero walking among us, hidden in plain sight. The crowd murmurs, heads turn, searching for Elliot, finding only empty seats. The Chancellor continues. Elliot Warner embodies the values of this institution: dedication, service, excellence. Words that ring hollow, that speak of a man they never noticed until his medal hit the floor at the back of the crowd. Professor Chen watches, satisfaction in her eyes. Justice in Elliot's absence. 10:15. The Chancellor stumbles through remarks, filling time, hoping, praying for Elliot's arrival. 10:20. Marcus returns, alone, whispers to the Chancellor. He's coming, on his own terms. 10:25. Movement at the edge of the quad. Elliot appears, not in dress clothes, not in a special uniform, but in his work clothes, clean pressed. The uniform he chooses daily. The crowd parts, a path forms, silence falls. He walks slowly, head high, back straight. The posture of a Marine, the dignity of a man who knows exactly who he is. In one hand, not the medal, but his wooden box, the one Maria found, the one containing the faces of the 22. The Chancellor gestures to the stage, to the empty seat of honor. Elliot ignores him, walks to the podium instead, places the box upon it, opens the lid, so only he can see the faces inside. The microphone captures his breathing, steady, controlled, a man preparing for battle. When he speaks, his voice carries, stronger than anyone expected, a voice that once commanded men, that called out orders under fire, that comforted the dying. I'm not here for your ceremony, or your recognition, or your cameras. He looks out at the crowd, eyes finding the veterans, the ones who understand, who nod slightly, who see him clearly. I'm here for them. He gestures to the box, to the photos inside. 22 people, embassy staff. Caught in a siege, 12 made it home, 10 didn't. His voice never wavers, never breaks, though the cost is visible in the tightness around his eyes, in the rigid control of a man holding himself together through sheer will. You want to know about heroism? It's not this, not speeches, not ceremonies, not medals. The Chancellor shifts uncomfortably, tries to approach the podium. A look from Elliot stops him cold. Heroism is the embassy receptionist, who shielded 3 colleagues with her body, who bled out in my arms. No medal for her. Heroism is the IT specialist, who kept communications running, who gave us vital intelligence, who was Executed when discovered. No ceremony for him, he continues. Name after name, story after story, the heroes no one remembers, the ones without medals, without recognition, without survival. The crowd stands silent, many weeping openly, cameras rolling, capturing not the feel-good story they came for, but the raw truth of sacrifice, of loss, of the real cost of service. I clean your floors, I empty your trash, I do this job with pride, with purpose, with honor. He looks directly at the Chancellor. The same honor I brought to the Marines, the same dedication, the same excellence. No job is beneath a person, only how they perform it. He closes the box, steps back from the podium, stands at attention, renders a perfect salute, not to the crowd, not to the cameras, but to the box, to the 22, to the fallen. Then he turns, walks away, through the stunned silence, through the parted crowd, back toward the English building, back to his cart, back to his mop, back to his chosen purpose. The Chancellor remains frozen, the ceremony in shambles, the narrative shattered, the truth laid bare, and in the crowd, Maria stands tall, tears on her cheeks, pride in her eyes, for the janitor, for the Marine, for the man who taught her that dignity isn't given, it's claimed through action, through choice, through service. Of any kind. Before we continue, comment where you're watching from. The aftermath is immediate. Footage goes viral. Not the ceremony the university planned, but something more powerful, more genuine. More raw janitor hero honors. The forgotten headlines spread across platforms. Clips shared millions of times. Elliot's words reaching far beyond the quad, beyond the university, beyond what anyone intended. For 3 days, Elliot doesn't come to work. Takes personal time, the first sick days in 5 years, disappears into the solitude of his apartment, away from cameras, away from attention, away from the reopened wounds. Monday morning, he returns. 5 a.m., regular time, regular uniform. As if nothing happened, but everything has changed. The maintenance office falls silent when he enters, co-workers watching, uncertain, until Maria steps forward, hands him a coffee, black, no sugar, just how he takes it. Morning, Mr. Warner. Bathroom. 204 has a leaky faucet. I left the tools by the sink. Normal words, normal tasks, a return to routine, to dignity. To purpose, Elliot nods. Thanks. I'll handle it. Life resumes, or tries to, in the administration building. Chancellor Reynolds paces his office. Damage control in full swing. The ceremony backfired spectacularly. But public sentiment has shifted. Unexpectedly, in the university's favor, the comment sections overflow. A school that employs true heroes. Respect for letting him speak his truth. This is what real honor looks like, not the narrative they planned, but one they can use. The Chancellor's assistant knocks. Professor Chen is here, with the security chief and someone else. Reynolds looks up. Surprised to see Marcus, Chen, and Maria Diaz standing united, determined faces, a mission in their eyes. What can I do for you? Chen steps forward. We have a proposal regarding Elliot Warner. She places a folder on his desk. Inside, architectural, plans, budget estimates, a detailed proposal, not for a ceremony, not for a plaque, but for something lasting, something meaningful, a veterans memorial, small, dignified, in the northeast corner of campus, where Elliot eats lunch alone most days. The Chancellor flips through the pages, eyebrows raised. This is substantial. The budget alone. Marcus interrupts. The veterans groups have pledged half the funding. After Friday's speech, they were moved. They want to help. Maria speaks next. The maintenance and custodial staff will donate labor, construction, landscaping, ongoing care. Chen finishes. Faculty have started a donation campaign. for the remaining costs. We don't need institutional funds, just your approval. The Chancellor studies their faces. The unity of purpose, the determination, the respect for a man they once overlooked. Does Warner know about this? Chen shakes her head. Not yet. We wanted your support first. Before approaching him, Reynolds considers, weighing politics, public relations, the viral attention already focused on campus. On Elliot. He signs the approval. Inform, one condition, no cameras, no press, no ceremony. Unless Warner wants it, they nod. Agreement, understanding. This isn't for show, this is for honor, real honor. That afternoon, Elliot works in the science building, buffing floors, the steady rhythm of the machine, the familiar task, soothing, healing. Professor Chen finds him there, Marcus beside her, Maria trailing behind. Elliot, a moment of your time. He turns off the buffer, waits, patient, wary. Chen explains. The memorial. The plans, the funding, the purpose, not to glorify war or blind heroism, but to honor the fallen, to remember the forgotten, to acknowledge sacrifice of all kinds. We want your input, your guidance, your vision. Elliot's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his posture. A slight easing of tension, a considering pause. Why? Marcus steps forward. Because you were right, what you said at the ceremony, about honor, about service, about what matters. Maria joins them. The memorial would include all 22, their names, their faces, their stories, not just the ones with medals, but all of them. Elliot looks away, emotion threatening his composure, more than he's shown in years. They wait, giving him space, giving him time. When he speaks, his voice is rough, thick with memory. They deserve to be remembered. All of them. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out the medal, holds it in his weathered palm, the gold gleaming under fluorescent lights. This was never mine. It belongs to them, to the ones who didn't come home, to the ones who paid the full price. He looks up. Decision made. The memorial should have a place for this, where it belongs, with their names, their faces, their sacrifice. Chen nods, understanding. This isn't about Elliot, never was. It's about honoring promises, keeping faith with the fallen, finding meaning in survival. 1 month later, early December, the memorial takes shape. A simple stone wall, curved, embracing a small garden. 22 trees planted, 10 with black ribbons, 12 without. No grand unveiling, no speeches, no cameras, just Elliot, standing in the cold morning air, watching as the final stone is placed, as his medal is sealed in a small case. At the center of the wall, surrounded by 22 photographs, 22 names, 22 stories, Marcus stands with him, silent support, new understanding between them. Respect earned, not demanded. Professor Chen nearby, bearing witness to healing, to honor, to history preserved. Maria tends the new plantings, careful, reverent, learning the names, the faces, the stories, ensuring they'll be remembered for the first time in 30 years. Elliot feels the weight lift slightly, the burden shared, the promise kept, the dead honored, the living reminded. He places his hand on the stone, cold under his palm, solid, enduring, like memory, like sacrifice, like honor. Tomorrow he'll return to his mop, his bucket, his chosen purpose, but something has changed, not in how others see him, but in how he carries his past. No longer alone, no longer invisible, but seen, truly seen, for all that he is, all that he was, all that he chooses to be. Winter passes, spring arrives, campus blooms green, life renews. The memorial becomes part of the landscape, integrated, natural, as if it always belonged. Students visit, some out of curiosity, some seeking quiet reflection, some to honor those named on the wall. Elliot continues his work, daily routine unchanged, Floors mopped, trash emptied, windows cleaned. But small things shift. Students nod hello. Faculty learn his name. Staff see him, really see him, not as the medal recipient, not as the viral sensation, but as Elliot, the man who takes pride in his work, who does what needs doing, who serves in his own way. In the memorial garden, early morning, Elliot tends the plants, not his job, his choice, before his shift. In the quiet hours, Maria joins him sometimes, learning the names of flowers, the proper way to prune, to water, to care. She learns other things too, about patience, about persistence, about quiet dignity. They work in comfortable silence. Teacher and student, veteran and civilian, two people who understand the importance of tending, of maintaining, of care given freely. Marcus patrols the campus, different now, more observant, less authoritarian, a guardian, not a guard. He greets the maintenance staff by name, learns their stories, their journeys, their purposes. Security shifts from control to protection, from power to service. In her office, Professor Chen develops a new course, Unsung Heroes, Hidden Narratives of Service and Sacrifice. Elliot's story just one among many, a tapestry of courage, of ordinary people, extraordinary moments, choices that define lives. She invites Elliot to speak, not expecting him to accept, just extending the opportunity. The recognition, the respect, to her surprise. He agrees once, one class, on his terms. The lecture hall fills beyond capacity, students sitting in aisles, standing against walls, all to hear the janitor speak. Elliot stands at the podium. No notes, no preparation, just truth. Raw, unfiltered, powerful. He speaks not of heroism, but of fear overcome, not of glory, but of duty fulfilled, not of medals, but of moments that define us. Sometimes courage is a split-second decision. Sometimes it's showing up every day, for 20 years, for a lifetime. The students listen, silent, captivated, learning something textbooks can't teach, about resilience, about redemption, about finding purpose after unimaginable loss. When he finishes, no applause, just profound silence, the highest form of respect. On a Tuesday in April, an envelope arrives, official letterhead, Department of Defense, inside, an invitation, a ceremony in Washington, 30 years after Sana'a. A reunion of survivors, the 12 he saved, now with families, careers, lives that continued because of him. Elliot stares at the letter, conflicted, the past pulling, the present anchoring. Professor Chen finds him in the memorial garden, letter in hand, question in his eyes. She sits beside him, reads the invitation, understands the struggle. Will you go? Elliot looks at the wall, at the 22 faces, at the medal in its case. I don't know. Chen nods, doesn't push, doesn't advise, just sits with him. In the quiet, in the question, some debts can never be repaid. Some wounds never fully heal, but some circles need closing. The decision is his, as it should be. 1 week later. Marcus drives Elliot to the airport, the janitor in his best clothes, not a uniform, not a costume, just dignity, clean lines, simple elegance. Maria has packed his lunch, a sandwich, an apple, a note of encouragement. The university community has gathered. A quiet send-off, no cameras, no speeches, just presence, support, respect. Chancellor Reynolds approaches, humbled now, wiser, extends his hand. Safe travels, Mr. Warner. The university is proud to call you our own. Elliot accepts the handshake, nods, a silent acknowledgement of how far they've come, of bridges rebuilt, of respect earned both ways. At the memorial, before leaving, Elliot stands alone, one last moment, with the fallen. With the remembered, I'm going to see them, the ones who made it, the ones who lived. His whisper carries on the spring breeze, a promise, a pilgrimage, a healing journey when he returns 2 weeks later. Something has changed, not in his routine, not in his duties, but in his bearing, a peace, a completion. A circle closed, the stories filter back, of reunions, of gratitude expressed, of lives intertwined across decades, of survivors honoring their savior, of Elliot finally accepting that his survival had purpose, had meaning, had worth. In the maintenance office, a new display appears, a photograph, framed simply. Elliot with 12 others, the saved, the survivors, the living legacy of one terrible day, one extraordinary man. Beneath it, a simple plaque, not about medals, not about heroism, but about connection, about continuity, about life persisting because of one, many. Students pass it daily, a quiet reminder that heroes don't always wear uniforms, that courage takes many forms, that purpose can be found in the most unexpected places. Maria studies the photograph, the faces, the stories, the connections. She sees what others might miss. Elliot smiling, truly smiling, perhaps for the first time in 30 years. The weight, not gone, never gone, but shared now, balanced, bearable. In the science building, Elliot buffs floors, the steady rhythm, the familiar motion, the gleaming result. A student stops, watches, then asks, "Mr. Warner, would you mind if I interviewed you for a project on finding meaning after trauma?" Elliot pauses the buffer, considers the young woman, her earnest expression, her genuine interest. Time. Was he would have declined, disappeared into his work, hidden behind routine. Instead, he nods. "When I finish here, 20 minutes. The memorial garden. The past now something he can face, can share, can use to light another's path." 1 year later, June morning, commencement day, campus alive with celebration, with transition, with endings that become beginnings. Elliot arrives early, special assignment today, preparing the main stage, where graduates will cross, where futures will launch, where journeys continue. He works methodically, ensuring everything is perfect. Chairs aligned, podium centered, flowers arranged just so. Professor Chen finds him there. Morning coffee, in hand, for him, a small ritual now, a friendship built on understanding, on respect. Big day. She hands him the cup, watches him survey his work. The precision, the care, the excellence in ordinary tasks. He nods, takes the coffee, savors the moment, the quiet before ceremony, before crowds, before noise. You know they're honoring you today. Chen says it casually, as if it's not momentous, as if it's just another fact. Elliot sighs. "I heard rumors. Hope they weren't true." She smiles. Not like last time. No speech is required. No spotlight. Just recognition of service, of impact. They stand together, watching the sunrise paint the quad golden, illuminating the memorial garden in the distance. The 22 trees now taller, stronger, reaching skyward. What would you have done? If you'd known what that day would cost you, if you'd seen the weight you'd carry for 30 years, for a lifetime. Chen asks the question that's lingered unspoken. Between them, between Elliot and his memories, between action and consequence, Elliot doesn't hesitate. The same thing, exactly the same thing. He sips his coffee, because that's the job. You do what needs doing. You help who needs helping. You save who can be saved. The simplicity of his answer, the clarity, the certainty. This is why he survived. This is who he is, at the core, beneath the uniform, behind the medal, beyond the trauma, a man who does what needs doing. The ceremony begins at 10. Families gather, students in caps and gowns, faculty in academic regalia, staff ensuring everything runs smoothly. Elliot watches from the sidelines. His work complete, his presence unobtrusive, exactly as he prefers. The Chancellor speaks about achievement, about potential, about service to community, words expected, formulaic, until he deviates from script. Before we present degrees, I want to recognize someone special, someone who embodies the values this institution aspires to teach. Elliot tenses, recognizing the shift, the attention about to turn, unwanted, uncomfortable. But the Chancellor continues, not with spotlight, not with spectacle, but with simple truth. For 6 years, Elliot Warner has maintained our campus, has created spaces where learning thrives, has served this community with quiet dignity, with unwavering dedication, with excellence in all things. The graduates turn, looking for the man described, many knowing the story, the medal, the viral moment, the memorial. Today we announce the Elliot Warner Service Scholarship for students who demonstrate extraordinary commitment to serving others, to doing what needs doing, to excellence in ordinary acts. No spotlight finds Elliot, no camera turns his way, just recognition of impact, of legacy, of values embodied, of lessons taught without a single word. At the edge of the crowd, Maria stands in her maintenance uniform, the first recipient of the scholarship, continuing her education, continuing her service, continuing the legacy of doing necessary work with pride, with purpose, with excellence. After the ceremony, when the chairs are empty, when the families have gone, when the campus quiets, Elliot returns to the stage. To clean, to restore, to prepare for tomorrow. Marcus helps him, not ordered to, not required to, choosing to. They work side by side, security and maintenance, different uniforms, same purpose. Professor Chen joins them, then others, faculty, staff, students who remain. Together, they clean the space, fold chairs, remove decorations, sweep confetti. No one speaks of heroism, of medals, of viral videos or ceremonies. Just people, doing what needs doing, together. At sunset, Elliot visits the memorial, as he does each day, a ritual of remembrance, of honor kept, of promises fulfilled. The medal gleams in its case, surrounded by 22 faces, the fallen, the saved, the remembered. A student sits nearby, studying. In the quiet space, she looks up as Elliot approaches, recognizes him, not from videos, not from stories, but from seeing him daily, from watching him work, from learning the lesson he teaches without words. Mr. Warner, thank you for this place, for what you do, for who you are. Elliot nods, acknowledgement, acceptance of being seen, truly seen, for all that he is. What makes a hero? Not uniforms, not medals, not moments of spectacular courage, but the daily choice to serve, to persist, to do what needs doing, with excellence, with dignity, with purpose. Elliot Warner, Marine, janitor, hero, not for what he did in a faraway embassy, but for what he does every day, for who he chooses to be, for the example he sets without intending to, without trying to, just by being himself, invisible no more, but seen now for exactly who he is. A man who knows that no necessary work is beneath dignity, that every act of service carries its own honor, that true heroism is found in the ordinary, in the everyday, in the choice to show up, to continue, to care, to excel, no matter who's watching, no matter who sees. If this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe.